Hey, everybody. I wanted to spend some time today talking to you about some out of the box thinking ways that you could be more visible and set yourself apart from others. I have had some opportunities to do some things in terms of creating strategy for companies. I've also done it creating a strategy for my team and for a program. And obviously, the first time that I ever did that was a little scary. I really had never done it before, and I was looking at other people's examples to try to figure out how I could mimic them or imitate them or take some of what they've done and apply it to my own space, whatever that was that I was working on. And so I think for a lot of people, it's a little scary to start to think about strategy in a bigger way. But what if you could use strategic thinking and out of the box ideas to help you be more visible? Would it be worth it? That is some of the things that I've been talking about today with some leaders because they're really good at their day-to-day job and they're doing a great job by all accounts. Their team loves them. They're working well in developing their team, but they need some ways to help them stand out for themselves. And so we started brainstorming a little bit today about some ideas that would help her do that. So we came up with three big ideas. One is for her to spend some time looking at opportunities that have existed in the organization that have not been addressed in the past. So, for example, something goes wrong with an order, something goes wrong with a shipment, and nobody really has a conversation about what could have been done differently, how they could address it going forward, if there are changes that need to be made to processes. Sometimes it's just one of those things that because of the day-to-day and the craziness, it just gets kind of brushed under the rug. And so as we talked about that, it was really fascinating because we just started talking about that with one other department, and it sparked all these ideas for her. Like she was coming up with all these new ideas. And that's the beauty of thinking out of the box, taking away any constraints that may exist and just being open to new ideas. It helps you be more creative and more strategic at the same time. The second one was coming up with ways to start to think about the future. What does the future look like for her department? What does the future look like for her organization? How does she see her team growing and evolving over time? So looking at it from maybe a 1 year to a 3 year perspective, potentially even 5 years, although that's sometimes a little more challenging, thinking out of the box in terms of those things could bring a lot of new perspective. It could bring new ideas. It could bring new ways of doing things. It could help her start to see what's possible. And taking the time to do that isn't something that's on everybody's radar all the time. There's so much going on that it's always one of those things you think, well, next time I get a big chunk of time on my calendar, I'll do it. Well, that will never happen if you don't make it happen. So either you have to reserve the time on your calendar or make sure that you're spending time thinking about that when you have some free time to do so. And involving your team is a good way to do that. So they have ideas too, trying to leverage not only your own creativity, but also your team and helping all of you come together with some great new ideas. Even if you can't implement them now, you'll have a great list of ideas that you can implement if someone is looking for new things, or you can maybe pull them out in a couple of years and start to do them then. But the third thing that was also good about this is it sets an example for the team. So at some point, those team members are going to progress and move up in their career. And if they don't know how to be strategic and do these types of brainstorming exercises and really thinking about the future, then they're not going to know how to do that when they become that leader. And they need to be leading a team just like this leader is trying to lead her team. And so I thought it really just made me think about a quote that one of the people in the book gave to me, one of my former mentors, well, still a mentor, I shouldn't say that, former managers, who's now a mentor. And he really talked about the importance of stepping outside of your job description, not just doing what's on your job description, because that's what everybody else is doing. So how can you set yourself apart and do something bigger, do something in a bigger way? And that means doing something outside of your job description. So I wanted her to think about that for herself and for her team. And how can she bring them together and show them what that means, what that looks like, how to do it in a way that they can start to learn how to do it for themselves. I think sometimes as leaders, it's easy to say, that's on my shoulders. I'm supposed to come up with the strategy. I'm supposed to be the one who has the answers. I would say it's great to have all of that, but involving your team is even better because your team has a different perspective than you do. They're dealing with different details. They're dealing with more of the day-to-day operations. They're dealing with things that you're not. And so they can come up with some new ideas too, just as much as you do. And it's a good thing to do. It helps you think out of the box maybe in a different way than you were going to on your own. So it's that old saying, right? More minds together are better than just one. So I wanted to share that with you because I don't think everybody thinks about visibility in terms of other things that you can do in terms of strategy. It can be something that's really rewarding, gives you a lot of opportunity for creativity, and allows you to be more innovative with your company, your department, your team, and for your own visibility and letting people see that you're a thought leader, that you think bigger, that you're more strategic than they thought. And visibility at the end of the day is all about showing new value, your capabilities, the things that you can do that nobody saw. So start to put together some ideas that no one's thinking about. Find a problem to solve, see a gap, try to solve it. Think about how the organization should look in the future, whether that's for people, processes, technology, new product lines, all kinds of different things that you can do to think out of the box and start to just jot those ideas down. It doesn't mean you have to commit to them. It just means you write them down and you look at them and you think about them and you decide if it makes sense to do some work on them, to take them to fruition and bring them to life. But if you don't spend the time doing that, no one's going to know about them. And they're just going to be ideas that someone else may come up with in the future. This is what visibility is. It's about taking a chance, taking a risk, stepping outside your comfort zone, and doing something that not everybody else would do in their regular job description. I hope this helps. Have a great day.